Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I am going to be talking about sex with Scorpio, and yes, it does apply and pertain to the Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. Well, anyway, people, Scorpio, I think, is unequivocally the most sexual zodiac sign. I think they have the strongest libido in the zodiac. They also can be perhaps the most complex sign. And really, you look at a Scorpio, Scorpios could be very passionate in the bedroom, to say the least. They can often wear very provocative outfits. They are just, Scorpio, I think, is really on average the sexiest zodiac sign. They often have very strong sexual appeal, and even the ones that aren't overwhelmingly attractive, there often is still something that is very sexy, provocative about a Scorpio person. And the thing about Scorpio is in a sexual relationship with somebody, well, what you have to keep in mind is that Scorpio is really like the prototypical detective. They love to get to the bottom of things, and they have very often very good investigative abilities. So if you're cheating on a Scorpio, they're apt to find out a lot sooner than the other zodiac signs on average. And it's something where Scorpios can spot subterfuge from someone in duplicity really in a heartbeat. They often have very penetrating gaze, very piercing eyes, and they see to the heart of a matter or a situation. So the thing about Scorpio is you really have to, Scorpios can be very complex, very complicated. It takes a lot for a Scorpio to let you in to their life, and often into their bedroom as well, because Scorpio is naturally they're cynical. They can be very skeptical. I think they're arguably the most suspicious sign of the zodiac. Scorpio, being a water sign, of course, can be very sensitive, and they are very careful in their unions often because they just don't want to get hurt by someone. I mean, Scorpio on the surface, they appear, I mean, very placid, very calm often, but like what I think is more likely than not, under Pluto's surface, there's some waters, and Scorpio, beneath their own placid, cool surface, so to speak, can have very turbulent emotions and passions. I believe Scorpio can appear very impassive superficially, but Scorpio can have a lot of strong emotion. And if you cheat on Scorpio, and Scorpio undoubtedly will find out about it in most cases, I mean, they could be very hurt. They could be very devastated even if they don't show it. Scorpio is not a sign which I really think is connected with being promiscuous, but if they're cheated on, I think that propensity can increase strongly. Scorpio can also be very vindictive and very vengeful if they are hurt by somebody. The thing about it is that you could cheat on Scorpio and they'll often figure it out, but if Scorpio is going to cheat on you, it could be very hard to detect this, because Scorpio can be very sneaky and very surreptitious, and that's probably a vast understatement. And Scorpio often is really a formidable adversary, so you really don't want to make Scorpio mad and do anything connected with cheating or philandering or what have you. And the thing about it is, if you don't want to be with a Scorpio anymore, it's best to just sit him or her down and talk it out is the best way. And the thing about it too is, Scorpio, whether it's a love or sexual relationship, they can often be very obsessive, and they could be very fixated on somebody. Once they get their eyes, they get their heart set on an individual, it's really hard for them to let go. And Scorpio, being a fixed zodiac sign, they often can really, when they love somebody deep, and it's very deep, and that sexual energy they show, I mean, it is really like very real, and it's a lot of strong emotion that's connected with this. It's not, they're really not ones generally to be into superficial flings. And Scorpio really, when they have a sexual relationship, they really strive more often than not for it to be one that is very sustained. They often want somebody for life, and they're very serious regarding these unions. And keep in mind that Taurus will fall on the 7th house cusp of Scorpio in a natal or solar chart, and wherever Taurus is placed is generally what we do consistently, and it shows that Scorpio could be very consistent in their relationships. I think what's interesting is that Gemini will often fall on the 8th house cusp of sex for a Scorpio in a solar or natal chart, and I don't really necessarily see Gemini though as being compatible sexually with Scorpio. I guess it could be they're not compatible signs, but I think what it is Scorpio may look for a sexual partner that can at least embody Gemini characteristics, and somebody that might be able to intellectually see them and understand them. Gemini tends to be a very intellectual and smart individual, and they can often, I mean, Scorpio being as complex and complicated as they are, it might take a Gemini-like personality to figure them out, and I think that has something to do with it. And I think Scorpio also actually likes the intellectual, communicative aspect of a sexual relationship. I had someone a while back, many years ago, that had Scorpio rising, and she likely had Gemini on the 8th house cusp, and she said she was attracted to me because of my intellect, so I think that has something to do with that. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for sex with Scorpio, and stay tuned next time where I'll be talking about sex with Sagittarius. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.